Hey, what's up? It's Ramonda Cutrer with Brickhouse Talk Production, and this is my official word. Today, I have a surprise guest for you. He is an intricate factor with Brickhouse Talk. He is a very important vessel, and he is the executive writer, Brian Mims. What's up, Brian?
Hey, how you doing, Ramonda?
I'm good. I'm glad that you can join me today on my official word blog. Thank you so much.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here. I appreciate all the credit. I think it's more that you should deserve than me, but, you know, thank you anyway.
It's a team effort, Brian. So anyway, Brian, you know, this is my official word, so I just want to touch on things that we're doing with the Brickhouse Talk, such as the featured artist of the month. This month, I was happy to feature someone from my hometown back in Lufkin, Texas, Fab Five. Did you take an opportunity to listen to the group?
I did take opportunity to listen to the group. They have some pretty good music up there. They seem like young, bright artists who has a very bright future ahead of them. And I think as long as they stay committed to their craft and continue to develop, then they'll do a good job.
Yeah, those guys have phenomenal swag. I said that up and down my article. You know, I love the music. When I listen to it, it just reminds me of home, and it makes me want to just do a little like that, you know, a little wiggle or something. And also, we would like to recognize once again Krishander Bennett, and I know her as Sandy Bennett. She is the Brickhouse of the month, and she is an extraordinary woman. She's a great person inside and out. She does a phenomenal job with her position at Ohlone College, and she's helping a lot of single parents out there.
That's good. That's good. I mean, we need more people like that who's doing the same things that she's doing, and, you know, being proactive in the community and helping out families. That's something that we definitely have a lack of nowadays, and it's good to see people like that still involved, still invested in the community, and helping others.
Absolutely, and she's getting a lot of positive feedback and responses. People are commenting on the site about Sandy because they know of her and saying that she's very, you know, inspiring to them in their life. So thank you so much, Sandy, for the opportunity. And last but not least, I would like to talk about the eye candy of the month. Is the eye candy of the month. Did you have the opportunity to take a look at some of her designs, Brian?
I did. However, I did notice that there was not a lot of things for men. I didn't notice anything for men, so hopefully she'll have a men's line coming down in the near future. And if so, if you ever need a spokesman or a model, you know who to come get.
Okay, because I'm sure, well, look, let me tell you, Brian can hang a suit really well. I've seen him dressed up, so he would be a great model for you. So with that said, we'll move on to the sports sector of it. You know, today it's going to be the inductee of the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. And there are a lot of top 10, well, actually 7 people that are going to be inducted today, starting with the one and only Deion Sanders.
Oh, yeah, you can't forget about Prime Time. You know, Prime Time been doing this thing for quite a bit of time. He's had a very stellar career. I mean, the very first in true shutdown corner in the NFL. I mean, you could put him out there and match him up on any receiver, and he'll lock him down for the entire game. And, you know, he was not only known for his talk, but he can back it up. So he can not only talk the talk, but he can walk the walk. You're talking about a man with 53 career interceptions. You know, he's been to multiple Pro Bowls. He's done a little bit of everything at the cornerback position.
So, I really commend you. Brickhouse Talk commends you for everything you've done. So the next person will be the one and only Mr. Marshall Faulk.
Mr. Marshall Faulk. You're talking about a man who played for the Indianapolis Colts, and he won a ring with the St. Louis Rams, and a phenomenal running back. You know, I saw Peyton Manning on a documentary about Marshall Faulk, and he said how if it wasn't for Marshall Faulk having as much knowledge about the game as he did, that Peyton would not have developed as rapidly as he did. And he said he always felt like it was having a quarterback, or a coach on the field with him when Marshall was in the game with him. And I mean, if you just ever seen Marshall Faulk run the ball, I mean, you would know that he was a very unstoppable force. It was hard for teams to tackle him. You know, just a straight downhill runner, pin his ears back and go.
Okay, and the next person to be inducted is the one and only Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah, you got Shannon Sharpe, Mr. Tight End. You know, arguably the best tight end to ever play the game in an NFL. You know, if you ever take a look at his story, you know, him and his brother Sterling, they came from very humble beginnings. They worked extremely hard to get to where they are today. True Brickhouse Talk, you know, people, as far as the whole concept is concerned. And again, arguably the best tight end to ever play the game. His brother Sterling Sharpe was a receiver with the Green Bay Packers. Shannon started off with the Denver Broncos, a team that I personally, you know, didn't root for coming up being from Oakland, and that kind of pretty much explains itself. But he went on to Baltimore, where he won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl in Denver. So Shannon Sharpe, another man who's done it all at the tight end position.
And then we can't forget Mr. Richard Dent of the Chicago Bears.
Can never forget Mr. Richard Dent from the Chicago Bears. You're talking about a defensive end of that stout 85 Bears team. I mean, that's arguably one of the best defenses ever put on the NFL field. And the stuff that they did, you couldn't run on them. I don't care how fast your running back team was. I mean, you're talking about a team with Richard Dent, Mike Singletary, and the linebacking corps. I mean, they just unstoppable defense. Could not penetrate them, could not run on them. Bears, went 15-1 that year. So, I mean, again, man's resume speaks for itself.
What is your take on the Washington Redskins' Chris Henneberger?
We know Chris Henneberger, drafted in 1965 in the 18th round. Back then we had 18 rounds, not like today they had 7 rounds. So it's crazy because you never know what kind of jewels and nuggets you miss if you don't make it into that 7th round. That's why I think teams put so much emphasis on undrafted free agents, where they could bring them into camp, get a good look at them, and determine if they're worth keeping. But drafted in the 18th round, outside linebacker for the Washington Redskins, had a very phenomenal career. I mean, very stout against the run. Unfortunately, Chris played a little bit before my time, so I didn't get a chance to really catch any of his games or anything, but I did take a look at some YouTube clips on Chris, and again, a phenomenal player, very deserving of the Hall of Fame status.
And last but not least, we cannot forget Mr. Ed Sabol.
Yeah, you got Mr. Ed Sabol, the founder of NFL Films, documenting all of the big championship games, all of the NFL games, and what's been taken over, of course, by his son, Steve Sabol, at this point in time. But a very important piece, a very important component of NFL history. Without him, we wouldn't have a lot of the stuff documented, a lot of the games that we can go back and see the old footage of, and, the old footage of the players and the coaches, and, how they were training back then and things of that nature. So, again, a very important piece to NFL history, Mr. Ed Sabol, which has now been passed along to his son, Steve Sabol, and he's carrying the tradition of keeping the NFL films going. They also have the NFL networks going. So, again, just monumental part of NFL history, Mr. Ed Sabol.
Yeah, so it's a great group of elite people that are being recognized.
Yeah, I mean, you got these individuals, and we have this ceremony for a reason. You got to highlight the individuals who go above and beyond regular standard play, or above and beyond regular standard duties as far as the NFL is concerned, and they're getting recognized here, and they're being honored, and it's the best of the best, basically. The NFL Hall of Fame. Yeah,
and I was listening to the news, and everybody's anticipating on Dion Phaneuf. What is he gonna do? What is gonna? It's gonna be a show, right?
That's prime time. That's Mr. Flashy, Mr. Flamboyant. He always gave you a show. He was one of the first players who not only gave you a show on the field with his skills, but he gave you showmanship afterwards. With his dances and his high stepping, and Dion being Dion. You gotta take everything. Dion's a package deal. You go get Dion and you go get prime time. You can't separate the two.
That's so true. That's so true. But then another thing that occurred actually this week was the retirement announcement of Randy Moss. And, I wrote an article about that because I had the opportunity of meeting him, and, I've always followed his career and everything, and I was really taken by that. Were you surprised by the announcement?
A little bit, because before the announcement, maybe like a month before the announcement, his agent went on record to make a statement saying that Randy is in the best shape of his life, and whoever is going to pick him up is going to get a superb athlete, again, in tip-top shape. So he put that statement out there for a reason. So I guess he was trying to draw interest for Randy at the time. And then a month later to come out and say that he's retiring, I'm not sure if it was for a lack of offers, which they say it's not. But they say at this point in his career that, based upon, I guess, the offers he did receive, it just wasn't in his best interest.
So moving on from one number 21 to the next number 21, your favorite team, the Oakland Raiders, they did a lot of changes in their organization this week. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we lost 2 key individuals, one on defense, one on offense, and the number 21 that you were alluding to, Mr. Asomugha, who signed with the Philadelphia Eagles, our star Pro Bowl cornerback, who was developed here in Oakland, homegrown talent, organic. I mean, just a shutdown corner, just like number 21, Deion Sanders, he takes away half of the field. So, teams often won't even throw to his side of the field because they're afraid of the potential ramifications that it may have. So, it's going to hurt to see him move on and go to another team, bring his skill sets and talent to another team. I wish he could have stayed and re-signed, but, that's the game of football. Football is a business. You got to go and follow the money, although players often say it's not always about the money. But, we haven't had, a lot of winning seasons in Oakland, and I'm sure Mr. Asomugha wants to win himself a ring. He's getting up there as far as his age is concerned, and I think he may be like 29 now. So for a cornerback, that's considered to be, kind of not at the ceiling, but it's getting close. So, I guess he felt that Philadelphia gave him the best opportunity to get a championship immediately. So he went over there, best wishes to Nnamdi, always be a Raider, drafted by the Raiders. So what can I say?
So we're going to keep it moving with football. What about OC? He did a big thing this week as well.
Yeah, Mr. Chad Ochocinco Johnson went over to New England Patriots. He wasn't happy with his Cincinnati Bengals situation, so they brought him over there to New England. And New England, as of lately in recent history, have been taking on these, colorful players, so to speak, colorful personalities and things of that nature. And they've been going through a reclamation project with New England. They're bringing quote-unquote troubled players into their organization, and, they're finding a way to make it work. So, they did that with Randy Moss. They did that with a couple of other players before him, and most recently, Chad Ochocinco. They get to New England and they buy into the whole New England Patriot way and the whole New England Patriot philosophy that's headed by Mr. Bill Belichick, their head coach. And it's like they kind of just get in line when they get there because they know when they go to New England they have a good opportunity to win a championship because they seem to be a perennial playoff team. And I guess, teams or players get there and they figure, hey, well, it's time to get in line. So we'll see how this makes the ultra flamboyant Mr. Chad Ochocinco Johnson, because he likes to do his thing. He likes to have all these little gimmicks and things ready for us when he scores his touchdown. So we'll see if that continues in the New England area, or if they're going to consider that to be somewhat of a distraction. We're going to get a toned down Mr. Chad Ochocinco Johnson. Who knows? He might take the Ochocinco away and it'll be just Chad or just Johnson, or I'm not sure how we gonna do it. We might not get the gold teeth this time around neither. So we'll see.
Or just or something. Yeah, well, we are happy that the lockout is over and that football is back on schedule and everything. So your Raiders, what do you think about their season that's coming up?
Well, I think they got definitely a tougher schedule than they had the year before, but I think they did make some key additions to their team that should help them. We did lose Nnamdi Asomugha. We did lose tight end Zach Miller. So, those are two key components in both offense and defense. But we did replace Zach Miller with a key signing from New York Giants, Mr. Kevin Boss. And he's a pretty good tight end himself. Yeah, so I predict that the Raiders will win the AFC West this year. Kansas City won it last year, but we swept them as well as Denver, as well as San Diego in the division. And we had a strong finish. And it seems like we're building off of that strong finish, and we're going to carry that momentum into this year. And first game against Denver Monday night, so it should be good. It should be interesting. But I think that second game and that third game when we play New England and the New York Jets will be good measuring sticks to let us know exactly where the team are.
All righty then. And not knowing all the particulars, but it seems that the negotiation in the lockout was of great benefit for the players. I've got a call. Well, actually, I seen some of a program on C-SPAN today, and they were speaking about how they're going to eliminate two-a-day practices and also setting aside some time in off-season to allow the players to go back to school and everything. What are your thoughts on that?
I think those are all good things. Football is a very rough and brutal sport. It's violent. So, oftentimes players play with undisclosed injuries, and we don't even know nothing about it. So I think the additional time off will give players, times to heal their body, which should only be more beneficial for the sport. And the fact that the NFL is giving them an avenue and an opportunity to continue their education, I think is a great thing, because a lot of players come out early, for whatever reason, and they may be in their junior year in college or their sophomore year in college, but now they have an opportunity to go back to complete their education, so they have something to do after football. Any
words going out, Brian?
Eat your vitamins and say your prayers.
Ditto. I agree with that. This is Brian all day, every day, you guys. Anyway, this is Ramonda Cutrer, and this is my official word.